Hey, wine mermaids. This is the Peace, Love, and Wine podcast, bringing you happy hour conversations with awesome women on self-care, sisterhood, and creative living to reduce stress and maximize joy. Life is short, so grab a glass and get ready to sip, sparkle, and make a splash. Make sure to visit peaceloveandwine.com and enter your email to receive VIP deals and get your free self-care download. Now, here's your wine sister hostess with the mostest, Tiffany Humfeld.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode in our virtual happy hour retreat series. You're rocking your biz, but it's burning you out. Top tips and tools from top entrepreneurs on how to go from overworked and overwhelmed to overjoyed. So I'm Tiffany Humfeld with Peace, Love, and Wine, and I'm here today with my lovely guest, Kathryn Alice. Hi, Kathryn.
Hey, Tiffany. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Doing great here. So Kathryn is a best-selling author and mentor, and she coaches men and women, but loves to work with women who want to have similar success that she has had, and both in business and in love, right, Kathryn?
That's right.
All right. So I want to hear a little bit about, first of all, actually, I want to hear about your wall behind you because it's a fun wall. Tell us a little bit about that.
I know. This is my biggest selling book is right there, Love Will Find You. But this is I call it my wall of weddings. It reminds me, if I ever doubt myself, and I think we all do, of how many people I've actually helped, because I've helped thousands of people find love and overcome divorce. And so these are people who actually got married using my work, and they're not all in their 20s and skinny. You know what I mean? There's people of every age, every situation, every physical. And it just helps remind me I'm doing good in the world. And it also helps remind other people that I've had some success with this.
I love it. It's so important, especially as entrepreneurs, to give ourselves recognition because nobody else is going to do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Good job. I call it the entrepreneurial roller coaster. So we need to be able to remember those successes because sometimes.
Exactly. It really helps. You can doubt yourself sometimes. And I always, when I mentor people, I tell them, keep a file for email, keep a file of letters, whatever you get, keep a file of pictures just to remind you you've done some things because we can forget sometimes.
Yes. All right. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, no, it's helpful.
So I want to hear a little bit about your own burnout story if you've had one. Do you have something that you can share that?
Oh my God. I have so many because I feel like I've reinvented my career a few times and done different things. One of them was when I first started out and I was scared to say no to anybody. And so I was seeing like 10 to 12 clients a day. Then I would collapse into bed and order takeout, or delivery. And I was a single mom at that time. And that was really rough. And then when I was wildly pregnant, that's when I quit seeing people in person. I went virtual. I was wildly pregnant and I'm like, I cannot see anybody in person. And I would do sessions in bed. I was teaching up until right before I gave birth. And the best one is when I signed a book deal and got pregnant on the same day. I think we were celebrating, probably having some wine. And so then I ended up taking a 10-month-old baby on book tour with me because I was still nursing on 25 city book tour. And talk about burnout. That was the most crazy time. It was exhilarating. Sometimes when you're almost burnt out, it's getting good. Right. But you're trying to expand and have all these balls in the air. And so those are some of my crazy burnout. I have so many of them, Tiffany.
So how did you do that juggle? That is hilarious about getting pregnant and the book deal on the same day.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was the worst moment. I had just signed with the biggest publisher in the world after meeting with 9 publishers. I had to break the news to my agent and my publisher, and I promised them that I would still promote the book and I wasn't going to get sucked into babyland. This was my 3rd child. And so it wasn't, I'm already a mom. I knew how to do babies. And so I just got a lot of support. And I think that's what we forget. And I made it fun. I love your happy hour theme because we also made it fun. I got my mother-in-law, who's West Coast, to go on the West Coast leg of the book tour and baby hold. My mom went on the East Coast, the Midwest, all these sweet, kind Midwesterners helped me. And in every city, what we did is I found my friends and followers and people I knew, and we would literally have happy hour before I talked or after we go to dinner. And so I tried to make it fun and connected even while I was working pretty hard, promoting my book.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting time, but it was exhilarating and fun. And I got a call from the head of the publishing company saying, you are doing amazing, books are flying off the shelves. And it was a fun ride.
What an inspiration to other women who, especially I think women can, and I know I've had this same experience myself, thinking, okay, choosing right between the kids or the job, and thinking, well, if I want to, I can't make it happen. But there's lots of women who do, right?
They do. Well, when my career started taking off and I got pregnant, this is with the second one, I had a new mantra because I was worried. I'm like, God, my career's just getting good. I got married. I'm pregnant with a baby. I cannot give up this career. And so my mantra became, I can have it all. And be a good mom, still let my career keep going well, and not get burnt out. And it worked because it kind of everything kept getting better. And so there's a way to do it, and it's a little tricky.
Well, tell us about that, because I'm sure women could use some of those tips that you have.
Yeah, I think number one is self-care. To take care of yourself, to ask for help. Number two is receiving better. A lot of people are overgivers, especially women, and they're very bad at receiving. And so during that time, I needed help, and I asked for help, and people really showed up for me because I had to ask my mother-in-law and my mom and various other people to help me. I could not do this. And I also, business expansion-wise, and this is number three, is I had to scale things. A lot of people make the mistake of doing everything themselves. And then we're terrified when we hire somebody because we don't know if they're going to do a good job and we're outlaying this money. And I had to do the same process I do with love, which is call in the right people. So I called in my soulmate agent, and she took a lot of it. I called in my soulmate publisher and editor, and they took a lot of it and did a lot. And I really relied on their publicists. I didn't try to do it all myself. I hired a good assistant and really got a good one. And so I just kept having to trust and find ways to hand things off. And that you have to do that if you're going to get bigger and not completely get burnt out. We just can't do it all ourselves.
And you almost have to do it before you're ready, right?
Kind of. That's what I call it too. That's good, Tiffany. That's good. Because I call it like stretching. You know, you feel like you're not ready, but it's calling you, and you can't stay where you are. You have to go. If it's flowing and it's getting bigger, you have to find a way to go. And so we have to stretch ourselves. And that's what I call it. And so that's a very good point.
Yeah. And it can be scary because the money may not be there yet. And you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I juggle that? I don't really have the income, but I need the help, and I can't do the job without the help, right?
I know. It's a trip. But, you know, I have found that it always shows up in the right way. And that was about 10 years ago when things started really getting good for me. Now there's way more help at an affordable price. Thank God. And so it's easier now than it used to be.
And I think with all the technology and the internet, and, you know, I use Fiverr a lot for small projects and things.
Fiverr, Upwork, and you know, there's a lot of options. Thank God, because you can get help, and it doesn't have to bring the bank, and it can be really good people.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a commitment, a weekly commitment, or, you know, you don't have to spend 40 hours worth of, you're not having to make somebody's living for them, essentially, and be responsible for that until you're ready for that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
I love that you called in your sisterhood tribe to help you out on the book tour. That's awesome.
It worked out so well. Yeah. It was such a magical time.
Now, when you say you're calling in your ideal agent and all of these resources that maybe you didn't have until you started asking for them, how did that work? How can somebody do that if they're trying to attract something into their life?
Well, I do this process literally called a soul call, and you could do it for anything. You can do it for your assistant that you need. You can do it for your clients. You can do it for soulmate, which is what I started doing it. And it's kind of a guided meditation, but it's also writing down. You can sit with friends like mastermind, and you write down, well, what do I want? What does this ideal assistant have? Or what does the ideal agent have? And so once you do that, you do this inner process, a guided meditation that I teach, and I'm giving we'll talk about that later, but I'm actually giving your viewers like a soul call sample to see how that works. And then there's one more step, and that's to be practical about it and be willing to shop. And so I had a junior agent that I signed with at first who did not get my work. And she wanted me to dumb it down from soulmate because it was kind of extreme soulmate. But I really believe you can have the perfect thing, if it's a soulmate agent or soulmate love soulmate or whatever. And she was trying to like kind of weaken my work, and I couldn't do it. So I fired her, and I was scared to death because at the time I didn't think I could get any agent interested in me. And then I ended up meeting with this high level agent who I'd wanted, and she took me to lunch and said she just didn't even make bones. She's like, I want you. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's a good place to be.
I know. And this is the agent who brokered the Gone Girl deal and made that such a best-selling book. And then they turned it into a movie with Ben Affleck. It's the same agent. So she really got my work. She didn't ask me to change anything. And she found a great name for my book. Like, she was just a real good collaborator and partner. And I feel like I called that forth, but I had to say no and not settle for what I didn't want. And so I think that's one step people forget. They kind of settle for a crappy person or somebody who's not getting it just because they're scared they can't get better. And that never works out, Well,
do you think there's a way to maybe transform the relationship you already have where, maybe you go, okay, this isn't, if I had to write it all down on paper and the feelings I want every day, it wouldn't necessarily look like what I have, but I know part of it is on me to be the person also that will,
and there is the right fit, but you can make it one. The way I do that in any situation is we start writing down the things we appreciate about the person, why we were drawn in the first place to it, and kind of concentrate on the vision for what we want it to be ideally, rather than concentrating on the negativity or complaining a lot, which kind of keeps it down at a lower level.
Right.
And so and I use that technique a lot to help save people's relationships and their marriages,
right,
which is opposite of what a lot of relationship counseling can do. They kind of really dig into the problem, and therefore they can exacerbate it, make it worse. So, yeah.
Yeah, I actually heard a really sad story about that. I won't go into it. But,
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I could have got hold of them because I could have helped them, I'm sure.
Yeah. Give me an idea of a couple specific things. So we already have the soul call and the meditation,
right,
that stuff. Asking for help, of course, those things are important. But what about some specific things in terms of self-care that you think are really important that will help women who are feeling like they're doing awesome in their business, but they just feel like they're running around with like a chicken with their head cut off?
Okay. Number one is sleep as a priority. And number two is focus. If the business is going well, maybe put aside trying to do everything. A lot of women especially women tend to do too much. They try to be the best cook and try to keep the entire social life going. It's a time to pare down and say, pick and choose what we're doing. That's number one. Number two has to be delegation. Again, what I was talking about, where we're asking for help, we're looking for help, we're willing to expand that way. Number three is whatever's wrong with them, to work on that. And it could be massages. I get a massage every week. I have somebody come to our house, and I have a massage table and get these like 1.5, 2 hour massages.
Awesome.
So you have to be a little selfish, I feel like. It could be if they have back problems, because back problems, I always feel like, or if you don't feel supported, to go get the help you need before it gets worse. Prioritize exercise and eating well, because we don't have anything to give if we're completely depleted. And it's hard to juggle it all, but we do have to pick and choose. And I think that we could probably scale back on the nurturing. I was brought up in the South where there was like this Martha Stewart standard for entertaining. And it was the biggest deal when we just ordered in pizza and Italian for a dinner party, and didn't get out and use paper napkins. I was like, oh my God, we're doing this, not having to be so perfect. And in the South, you have to write thank you notes, handwritten. And it was a big deal when I started either emailing them or sometimes printing them on paper. That was huge, but people do that. So I had to learn to kind of let go. You just can't do everything. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
So, yeah.
You can have it all, but not necessarily all at once.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of things that don't matter enough to put that much effort into them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you do for fun, because I'm sure some of it has to do with self-care.
Oh, yeah. Well, I play tennis, I swim, and definitely do exercise every other day and weights on the off days. like I said, I get a massage every week for sure. And my husband and I, we do date night once a week, but we also do getaways. And it's always magical when we make time for each other. So we do that. And then I live at the beach, so we're at the beach a lot. And I love to, like, this is silly, but I love to go to amusement parks because it's kind of like if I'm at home, I'll work too much. But if we go off, I'll ride the rides and be with my boys. I have 4 boys. And so we just got back from the LA County Fair. We're going to Disneyland in a couple weeks for 2 days. And, we just try to make sure we're having some fun.
That's awesome. Wow, 4 boys. That's a handful.
Well, they make sure I have fun because that's all they want to think about. And
Yeah.
so they drag me into their video games and I'm out in the yard on the trampoline, so they kind of make sure that mommy's going to have some fun.
How old are they?
Oh, God. I have a range. My joke is I'm using all of my childbearing years. So the youngest is now 11 and the oldest is 29. He's my stepchild. When I got married, we were single parents. So we have a 29-year-old and a 28-year-old, and then we call them litters. Our second litter is from my husband and me. I had them in my 40s. Hate to say, but, I always tell people, don't worry about a biological clock. Women are having babies older and older, So, but my youngest is now 11. So.
Wow, that's quite a range. Yeah, that's fun. I actually like to hear stories of women who do things a little bit untraditionally because I think it gives hope to people who maybe aren't yet there. Sorry for that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love those stories, and I'm always encouraging the people I work with to find stories that give them hope and prove that they can do something they were scared they couldn't do. Because if you can think of it, you really can do it. And I'm glad, I'm a late bloomer, but it got really good. So.
That's awesome. How did you and your husband meet?
We met through mutual friends. When I met him, I had a boyfriend, and I noticed him, and I shouldn't have been. I had been a single mom for many years. And then when I was single, he had a girlfriend. And so a few years later, we were both single at the same time, stuck in a car together, and we're both shy. And so we had to talk. And that was it. After that, it was just done. We've been married for 15 years now, so it's been a while.
All right. Congrats. That's great.
Thank you, Tiffany.
And you still had some time together, it sounds like, even before, you had the kids, you still had some together time before.
We did, and we've always prioritized that because you want to keep that good. We can't forget just because we have our soulmate, we can't take it for granted. And we have so much fun when we go away together and spend time.
Oh, that's fun. Now, are you guys opposites too?
Little bit. I'm more type A. He's like type Z, we joke. He's a California boy, and he's really laid back, but he also can get things done and is really smart and knows things I don't know, which is great. So we are a little bit opposite. And I had a list of what I wanted, and he is everything that I wanted that I wasn't sure could exist, but they're all exist in him. And, I'm so grateful because I was a single mom for a long time, and I did struggle. Yeah. And now that I have him, I'll never take him for granted.
Congrats. That's really great.
Thanks, Tiffany.
We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and we are...
Oh, you did? Yeah. Oh, you are? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it works like if you have 2 talkers, who's going to get a word in? You have to have a talker and more of a listener. And so there has to be the balance.
Right.
So I love that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm more of the artsy-fartsy ADD type A, and he's the engineer.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. That's great.
But it is good because he is very good at being practical and efficient when I might be...
when you're floating around. Yeah. I love that. Boy, that sounds like a perfect combination.
It's fun. Yeah. Sometimes it's just we definitely communicate in different languages and our brains do not work the same way. So I think it's both the thing that drew us together and also something that becomes really frustrating. So there's a balancing act there.
Yeah, there is. And the thing that you love about them sometimes can drive you crazy, but I always try to refocus people back on the reason they married them or got together in the first place.
Right.
The good stuff and remembering that and remembering how wonderful it is to have that person.
Yes, it is. Yeah, having that sort of that person on your team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we've gotten some good tips here today, and I really appreciate your time. Do you have any sort of last minute wisdom or just maybe anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our ladies today?
Well, when I work with people, they have this thing that I call a set point, and it's where they get stuck. You can know your set point by where you feel like you've been too long and you're kind of outgrowing it and you're restless or you don't feel satisfied. And the biggest thing that I have to do with people is to get them to take risks and to go ahead and take that step and stretch a little bit, even though it might be scary. And it's so weird how much that set point wants to grab you. You can get sick. You can get hijacked. Something comes that gets your attention and you give it up or whatever it is. And so I have to ask people to focus and to really be willing to write down. And I would ask perhaps our viewers right now to write down 3 things that they'd like to do that they've been a little scared to do or have gotten waylaid from doing. And then 3 things that they really want to do that are fun on their bucket list. We took 5 years off and island hopped. When we took our company virtual in 2007. And at that point, we island hopped for 5 years. Part of it was international book tour, but we just basically could make money anywhere. And so we had the time of our lives. And I would love for your viewers just to write 3 things down on their bucket list that they want to do and not wait until they're, too old to do it. Do it now and let's make that happen. Because once you start doing it, I'd put it on your screensaver on your computer or your background, do a vision board, start envisioning what it's like to do it, and it'll happen. And for anybody who's single, that's my specialty. So look me up. And also put that on your list is to find your soulmate, because they really do change your life for the better. And you always end up having fun and having adventures together. Yeah. So that's it.
So that's awesome that you were able to do everything virtually and really expand that way.
It's amazing because you don't have to, even to this day, we could pick up and go wherever we need to. If a relative gets sick or whatever, we're not really tied down too much.
And that's part of one of the things that you teach too, isn't it?
It is. We have a company called The Portable Lifestyle. So many people were looking at all the pictures we were posting when we were traveling and with these kids too. And they're like, how can you do that? And so we started teaching people how to do that. It's getting easier and easier because of technology. Right. When we first started doing it, we would beg resorts to get better Wi-Fi and stuff, but so we started teaching people. And so that's our company. You guys could look it up, The Portable Lifestyle. If you put that in Google, we come right up and you can see our fun video. We have a video of some of our adventures and it's talk about fun. Every single day was a happy hour all the time. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So that's sort of your business with your husband then?
Yeah. I mean, my husband he sort of runs the financial and technical part of things. That's his specialty, which I'm really clueless. So that's a great way we are together. And he definitely, The Portable Lifestyle is his baby, but he kind of runs a lot of our company. I begged him for years to come be with me. And like I said, honey, as well as you're doing with other startups, if you ever came with me, we could have our own company and really do well. And he finally did. And that's when things started really getting good. So, cool. Yeah.
And if people want to reach you directly, tell us a little bit more about your gift with the Soul Call.
Yeah. Oh, well, for your viewers, because I feel like they're more business oriented and here for that, I'm giving them a money manifestation package. It's like a class to up your income instantly, notes to go along with it, like a little workbook, and then also the Soul Call for more money, because more money makes it so much easier to delegate, to have a happy hour, to have fun. It just does. I mean, abundance, it kind of comes together. And so I am giving them like a sample Soul Call for money, for the money that you want. Everybody seems to want more money because it gives you more freedom. It's not even being greedy. It's just money means freedom. It means greater choices and more access even to things. And so that's the one I'm giving your viewers because I thought they might enjoy it. And if you look online at KathrynAlice.com, you can see some of our other stuff for love and relationship in particular. There's a Soul Call definitely for your soulmate there. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think both of those will be very valuable. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
And hopefully sometime we can do a Malibu happy hour in person.
You've got to come to Malibu. I will totally take you to lunch. It's so great here. And I would love to meet you in person, Tiffany.
I would love to as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time, Kathryn. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Hello, Mer people. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I just wanted to pop in and ask you to do me a huge favor. If you're enjoying the show, please go to iTunes or wherever you leave your reviews and post a review and rating there for me. That way more people can find our little mer habitat here on the internet and enjoy our sisterhood, self-care, creativity, and biz boss badassery. If you want to learn more about our exciting upcoming events, gifts, wine, and all the fun things that are Peace, Love, and Wine, send me an email, info@peaceloveandwine.com, or go to peaceloveandwine.com and enter your name to win something fun and get a free self-care download.